The following program is brought to you courtesy of a grant provided by the Bank of Princeton.
Good evening, I'm Goldstein and welcome to another edition of Focus On. Tonight our focus is on paying for college, and my guests tonight are Gabrielle Charette, who is the Executive Director of the Higher Education Student Assistance Authority, and Andre Maglione, who is the Associate Director of Client Services at the Higher Education Assistance Authority. And I'd like to thank you both for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
It's great. First, I'd like to give you a background about Gabrielle. In May of 2011, Governor Christie appointed Gabrielle as Executive Director of the Authority. And as Executive Director, she oversees and directs all the managerial, administrative, operational, financial, legal, and governmental affairs of the Authority. In June of 2010, she served as Chief of Staff at the New Jersey Department of Health and Senior Services. And prior to joining the department, she was a partner in the Megna Law Firm and co-founder and owner of Definitive Insurance Management Services, Incorporated, which is a captive insurance management company. Her practice focused on corporate governance issues and insurance regulatory matters. Before entering private practice, Gabrielle had a career in state government that spanned 16 years in various capacities, including serving as counsel to Governor Whitman's Chief of Staff. Following her tenure with the Whitman administration, she joined Montclair State University, where I also worked in the past, where she served as the Director of Governmental Relations to the President Susan Cole. A lifelong resident of New Jersey, Gabrielle earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from Drew University, and she received her Juris Doctorate from Rutgers State University and was admitted to the bar and also is admitted to the practice of law in the District of Columbia, and she resides locally in Titusville with her husband, William Megna, who is also an attorney.
Yes.
And Andre has assisted many families, students, and aided administrators in navigating the vast financial aid process, and has served as a financial aid practitioner, working in corporate college operation, and as the corporate director of financial aid, managing multiple college campuses, delivering higher education and financial resources to many needy college students. During his career, Andre also worked for the U.S. Department of Education, New York regional offices as a federal program reviewer. He audited colleges' compliance to rules and federal regulations, ensuring the integrity of the federal grants and loan programs. And after leaving the U.S. Department of Education, he served their training team for numerous years, delivering timely expert training seminars to financial aid and business office administrative staff nationally. Andre founded the Eastern Asset Recovery Incorporated and its subsidiary Default Management Corporation, which is an operation to assist colleges in reducing the delinquency and default rates of their students and colleges. Both very nice backgrounds, and I'm sure they'll help our audience tonight talk about financing your college. And the first question I'd like to ask you is, what types of financial assistance right now are available for parents and students who are starting to think about college and they're not sure how to pay for it, especially seniors who are anxiously right now awaiting responses to their college applications, and juniors who are on the college tour right now and they're thinking about where should I go and what can I afford and what can I do. So I was wondering if you could just go over that a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having us, and thank you for focusing on this important topic for so many students and families in New Jersey. There's a variety of options available to families, and it ranges from need-based grants, academic scholarships, as well as student loans. I think what's really important for people to understand is that they should not be deterred just because they see a sticker price that could be shocking. It doesn't mean that the sticker price of the institution that the student wants to go to is actually the price that the family is going to pay. So there's a lot that goes into that calculation. What they have to do initially is they have to go and they have to fill out the free application for federal student aid, and that will tell them what they are eligible for in terms of grants, scholarships, and loans.
That's the FAFSA, right?
That's the FAFSA.
I remember doing that with my two daughters, and it seemed like it was just onerous, but it's a real important document?
It's very important. It is lengthy. It's the standardized application that's used across the country. There are, at the end of it, 4 additional questions for New Jersey students. However, now that it's online, we really encourage people to use the online application as opposed to the paper form, because the online application has some skip logic in it. So some of the questions you may not have to answer based on your previous answer. For example, if you're a female, you're not going to have to answer the question if you're registered with the Selective Service, because you're not required to. So that does make it a little easier.
Okay, that's good. Now I know you talked a little bit about sticker shock too, and I know that there's a recent federal mandate that all schools must offer net, price calculators online, stating, starting, I guess, last October. And I guess the question I have is, why was that needed, and what is a net price calculator for everybody out there who may not know what that is?
Well, I guess October 29th was a date that all schools across the country that participate in the Title IV programs, the financial aid programs, really needed to make sure that they communicated to those potential students what the actual price should cost them. Because sometimes, they see a number, and that's not always the number or the price that they need to pay. So they have a wizard. The Department of Education created a wizard for them to to put on their websites, so that families could go out and answer some questions and find out what the true price is going to be for a student or family in that same situation.
Okay. Talk about applying for funding. When should a person apply for financial aid? When should they start thinking about applying for financial aid? Where do they begin?
Okay, the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA, will be available after January 1.
Okay.
And I would suggest that families start getting their information together as soon as they start getting their 1099s and their W-2s and all their bank statements end of year. When they are ready to file their taxes or right thereafter, is really a good time. The deadline for first year applicants is June 1st. However, we really suggest that you do that ahead of time. Don't wait till June 1st. And some of the aid programs, are fixed pots of money, and once they're exhausted, they may not be eligible.
Okay.
And we always urge them to, apply early, because really, the institutional aid that they look for as well could be used up quickly. So, yeah, and they have their own deadlines as well. Not only just the state of New Jersey has a deadline, but the individual college they have certain deadlines as well that they need to meet.
Okay.
So
In applying for a loan, is there anything that would keep a person from qualifying for assistance?
For a federal loan, federal loans are credit-ready loans, and so you just have to not have defaulted previously on a federal loan, and you, if you're eligible, should be able to get a subsidized Stafford loan if your income is within a certain category. And subsidized means that the interest does not accumulate until 6 months after graduation. And then generally there's also another $2,000 unsubsidized loans that students can get. Those are federal loans, very easy to get as long as there's not a prior default. In New Jersey, we have a supplemental fixed rate loan program for those needs that are unmet after all the tuition, grants, and scholarships and federal loans have been applied. The criteria is a little bit more stringent. We do look at credit scores, and we do look at a minimum income of $30,500. At least that's the criteria for this year. And if the student doesn't have that, we would look to the co-borrower to meet that credit criteria and income criteria.
Okay. All good information.
Yes.
I just want to know, what is the most cost-effective way to have your child take out a student loan? Is it easier for parents to take out a Parent Plus loan, or, maybe we could talk about what the Parent Plus loan is, and give an explanation.
Okay, that's great. Really, the Parent Plus loan was designed to pick up the difference at the end. After you've received all your grants and scholarships, your federal grants, your state grants, and if there's still need there, the family can borrow a Parent Plus loan instead of paying out of their pocket. And the Parent Plus loan was designed there to pick up those costs, plus any other incidental costs, like transportation, lunches, room and board, and so forth. So that would help them cover those costs if they didn't plan for it, they didn't have it saved.
Okay. Okay. I know this is a personal question, for many in our audience, but what is the most beneficial way from your background, your experiences, for parents to pay for college? Is it through the Parent Plus loan, other types of loan, home equity loans? What's the most beneficial way?
Well, first, I would like to say that New Jersey has a very generous tuition aid grant program. In fact, we provide the most need-based aid to students of any undergraduate students of any state in the nation. Tuition aid grants can go up to almost $11,000 at an independent school, $9,000 at a state college or university. So I think definitely looking to go in-state is definitely well worth the exploration because of the tuition aid grant program.
And that's always been a goal throughout the many decades. Having been in higher education myself, it's always been a goal, I think, of everyone to keep students in state. And there is a lot of great educational institutions in the state. And there's a vast migration, but hearing that the financial assistance ability is there, because right now everybody's shopping around. So to hear that New Jersey's offering that much money, both.
And those are grants. They do not have to be repaid. They're not loans.
Well, that's what I was hoping to get to, because a lot of the loans do have to be repaid, like the Stafford loan has to be repaid, but these are grants.
Grants.
And the process for applying is the same?
Same. You fill out the FAFSA. At the end of the FAFSA, you complete the 4 New Jersey questions, and you will get a student eligibility notice from the Higher Education Student Assistance Authority.
Okay. And how are determinations made on those grants?
They're based on basically household income, household size. We have a formula that we go through. Assets, we do exclude the primary residence as an asset. And then it's a sliding scale based on income and on tuition.
Okay.
But approximately 1 in 3 New Jersey students who go to school in state get some type of TAG award.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
Okay.
So it reaches well into the realms of the middle class income.
Right now, the economic times are a little tough right now. It's tough for people finding a job, especially coming out of college, let alone thinking about going to college. And a lot of people are putting college off, till later, for economic reasons. Some feel that they don't have enough money to cover the minimum payment of their student loans when they come out of college. And I was wondering if any advice you might have today to those individuals so that they may avoid finding themselves in a default situation once they come out.
Well, if it's an unsubsidized loan and the interest is accruing while the student is in school, we really strongly urge students and families to consider making at least the interest payment while the student is in school, because if the interest payment isn't made, that interest is going to get capitalized each year, and you're going to end up paying interest on interest. So to avoid the shock, if you can at least make the interest payment while you're in school, then when you come out of school, it should be a little bit easier. Of course, if there's a problem, I would suggest that the student not run and hide, that they call their lender, they talk to the lender, and they try to work something out.
And many of them have deferments and forbearances available that could prevent, just hold up payment for a specific period of time,
right,
so that they can get things together. They can go out and get a job. So they do have deferments and forbearance, go back to school, military deferments. So there are a lot of different options they do have, even hardship.
Okay.
But the worst thing is not to communicate and to try to hide and run away from it,
Okay.
because it will affect your credit score.
Okay. What's been the mission, the new mission since you came on board a couple of months ago of the, the authority? What do you see long term, its goals, and what, if you could, wave a magic wand today, what would that be? What would your 2 main wishes be?
Well, I think the mission continues, regardless of who the executive director is, and that really is to be the one and only state agency that is solely focused on students and families, not only getting them the financial resources to attain a degree beyond high school, but also giving them the educational resources. And so we really see ourselves as one-stop shopping. If you go to our website, there's a ton of information for students, for families, guidance counselors, high school guidance counselors, as well as college and university financial aid officers. I mean, we really see ourselves as providing the entire gamut of resources to everybody who is involved in this process.
Okay. Do you have any workshops for parents and students that you run?
We often run workshops.
Yes, hundreds a year, actually. Yeah, we work with the high schools. I have staff that go out and actually do financial aid nights, do the importance of going to college. You know, we reach out to even middle schools as well. So yeah, and we actually, organizations within all over the state that we actually go out to and meet with families and explain to them the process of financial aid, what a difference between a grant and a loan are, you know.
And February 26th of 2012 is College Goals Sunday. It's a nationwide event. New Jersey is participating. We are going to be at 10 different locations across the state, and we will actually work with students and families and help them complete the FAFSA. We will have trained guidance counselors available. We will have bilingual guidance counselors available. We are also going to be at a location in Mercer County.
Okay. Is there some information available on your website?
Yes.
On this, or what is your website? So
www.hesaa.org.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, the beauty of it too, we work with NJASA, which is the New Jersey Association for Student Financial Aid Administrators, and that's really all the financial aid administrators all over the state that volunteer their time to go out to these locations and make sure it goes off without a hitch, and they really, you know, inform the students, get them to complete their FAFSA, get their PIN numbers, they can electronically sign it. So it's a really, you know, exciting time.
Sounds like an exciting
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Sounds like you're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
That's great. I know a lot of students especially ask about scholarships, and some have an idea of how to access those scholarships. Some have no clue. And I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about, even though it's not under your purview, but you know, those scholarships and resources that students may access who may not know how to access, you know, what types of scholarships may be out there to help defray the cost of their education.
Well, certainly if they have a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or uncle who works for a corporation, they should look to those business entities. A lot of business entities offer scholarships. A lot of civic associations, the Rotary, Lions, offer scholarships. So those are definitely resources that they can avail themselves of. But New Jersey has a very exciting scholarship. It's called New Jersey Stars, that allows students in the top 15% of their high school class to attend community college for 2 years free in their county of residence. And then New Jersey Stars 2 allows students who have persisted and who have maintained a certain GPA and earned that associate's degree to continue their education at a 4-year state college or university.
Okay. A lot of students have decided, for economic reasons, you have to go to the community college and then the state college route. Is it an automatic acceptance if you graduate from any New Jersey community college into a 4-year state college? Is that an automatic acceptance?
No, it's not an automatic acceptance.
Okay.
But there is I believe there is automatic transfer of credits provided that there's a comparable course.
Okay. Okay. What do you think is one of the, a lot of people have talked about, you know, the high prices right now and the cost, and is education becoming less affordable to a lot of individuals? And we all know the value of education and how it's generally the key factor in getting a job and moving ahead and earning more money in life. So I guess my question to you is higher education still affordable, and or is it becoming harder to afford for many people?
Well, certainly it's becoming harder to afford, but I think it is still affordable. I think people have to be creative. I think people have to make choices. I don't think every student and every family needs to spend $60,000 a year. I think there are options available that are at a lower cost. But as you said, even during the economic downturn, we have seen consistently that individuals with a higher education, a baccalaureate or greater, earn more money and have been less impacted by unemployment.
Yeah. Okay. What type of increase have you seen in applications, and also have you seen an increase in the amount of money going out.
Yes, we saw a very large spike in 2008, the year of the crash, and we've seen increased applications since then, but it's kind of tapered off.
Okay. So if you had a son or daughter right now that was about to go to college, what advice would you give them as far as seeking financial aid?
First, I would complete the FAFSA as early as possible. I would look at state schools. I would definitely look, if my son or daughter was in that top 15%, I would definitely look at the NJ STARS option for community college. And then I would also look to some fixed rate loans like NJ Class.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit more about NJ Class?
Yes, that's the state loan program. It stands for College Loans to Assist State Students. It's a fixed rate loan program. This is not funded by taxpayer dollars. Actually, what HESA does is HESA goes to the bond market and sells bonds every year. So it varies from year to year because we get a different pool of money depending on economic conditions and depending on what bondholders want, how much they want to purchase. This year we're making $310 million in NJ Class loans. It's a fixed rate loan product which we think is important, and I would just caution families and students about some variable rate loan products. They may be offering you a teaser rate to get you in, but then that rate can escalate later on, and that could be scary. What we like about NJ Class is that you know exactly what you're going to be paying in interest. And there's different terms. The interest rate varies depending on the term, 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, of course, the different repayment options that you select. And the one thing that families forget in New Jersey is that it goes out of state. And that's a big thing that families forget, is that even though they send your student out of school, out of state, the New Jersey Class can go with them. And they can use that product for that purpose.
So it's portable?
It's portable.
Portable. Any state?
Any state.
Okay.
As long as it's a college that's offering a degree program.
Okay. What do you find the biggest mistake that parents or students make in financing their education? You think that they forget about that interest accruing over time and not paying off that interest? Do you think that, they just think that they have a lot of time to pay it off after they graduate? Because I know there's a grace period after you graduate, right?
With the federal loans, there's a subsidized Stanford loan. There is a 6-month grace period. With New Jersey Class loans, it's generally 30 to 60 days after graduation where you have to start repaying.
Okay. And is that a fixed rate? Will it always be a fixed rate throughout your term in college?
Yes.
Okay. So for all 4 years.
One of the things I think one of the mistakes I think families make is that they don't start saving sooner and investing in a 529 plan. I think some families think that they don't have a large chunk of money, that it's not worth it. But you can open up a 529 plan with as little as $25. And if you keep making those investments, especially if you start when the child is young, there's going to be a substantial amount of money available. And if it's managed well and invested well, those returns are not, as long as they're used for qualified educational expense, are not taxable.
Okay. So the 529 program is great for grandparents and parents to get on the stick right now.
Yes,
they want to put some money aside for their grandchildren or children, and that is something that anybody can make, and there's no maximum amount of money that can go into a 529 plan?
No, there's no maximum amount of money. It has to be used to get the tax, to not be taxable. It has to be used for educational expenses. And the New Jersey BEST 529 program, if you save for a certain period of time, a certain amount, there are scholarships attached ranging from $500 to $1,500 as long as you use it at an in-state school.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of parents find it tough to save now because of the increasing, price costs and basically jobs, and not having it. So I know everybody would love to be able to put some money away aside and have that, to spend. So absent that, or I don't know if there are other plans like 529 out there. Are there other plans like 529, savings plans for parents, where parents can, put money aside that's sponsored either by the state or federal?
The New Jersey 529 plan, NJ BEST is.
Yeah. Okay. So what can parents who are having trouble putting money aside, where can they go? Is there anything they can do as far as, looking to get extra money for their child to finance their education?
Well, there are scholarship searches. I know this College Board at collegeboard.com would have scholarship searches available. They can go out and create a profile and go out and do scholarship searches.
And if a student is really interested in a particular institution, I would encourage the student and the family to contact the financial aid office at that institution and really talk to them about their situation. And if that institution wants that student, I think that a lot of times they're willing to work with the family.
They become creative.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. That's good. So I know you've both been in the business of helping families for a long time in various capacities and students. And I was just wondering what message that you'd like to send out today to all students and families who are sitting watching the program right now, wondering if they can afford college, wondering how they can afford college, wondering, am I going to be in huge debt, and not having to worry greatly about it. Everybody will worry about paying it off, but what message can you get out today to anybody who's sitting there on the fence and is undecided about what to do or how to afford college?
Well, HESA is there for you, and I encourage you to visit our website. I encourage you to call our toll-free number, make an appointment with a guidance counselor. Come to College Goal Sunday on February 26th at one of the locations throughout New Jersey. We do want to be a resource. We do want to help you with this because we think it's important.
Okay. And what is that toll-free number? Do you know?
You know.
Okay.
1-800-792-8670.
Okay.
8 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. at night, Monday through Thursday, and from 8 a.m. in the morning till 5 on Friday.
Okay. Well, I think it's been, it's great that you were able to drop by your busy schedules today and give this information for everybody out there, because it's a real need and people want to know what type of resources we have in the state. Who can we see, how my child can afford education, and how can I pay for college? And I think you've accomplished that greatly today, and I appreciate you both coming on. Gabrielle, Andre, thank you very much. And thank you very much for watching tonight. This is Lou Goldstein saying stay healthy, stay active, stay focused, and we'll see you next week on another edition of Focus On.
This program was brought to you through a grant provided by the Bank of Princeton.